Hey, good afternoon, everyone. So, welcome to your first live stream of a lecture. I know this is something a little bit strange or a little bit new for all of you, but because I've missed too many of your classes due to holidays and my MCs. I was on MC last week, so I couldn't attend your class on Thursday. And you guys really need to finish whatever it is that I'm doing today and on Thursday. Okay, so you guys can proceed on to your assignments because I have received a lot of questions, especially coming from Harshini. So you guys really cannot proceed until I've taught at least until argumentation part. So it's really important for me to drive this point and for you to attend this particular lecture. And even if you're not watching this live, it's okay. All right. That's one of the things about being a live stream, all right? So it's pre-recorded on YouTube. As long as you have the link on iLearn, you can just jump right into it, all right? So I'm sorry I couldn't be there, and even if I'm well enough to go to work this Thursday, I will not be in your class. I will not be having class with you guys because I have the rat race going on. So I will do a replacement on Thursday if, let's say, I'm not well, if I'm well enough to go to work, but I cannot attend your class. All right, so I will detail it more. I will detail it more later on in the chat later. So if you are live right now, that's the. I know it's a little bit different. Okay, I cannot be there in your class, and I cannot really gauge whether you understand. And you cannot really ask me questions. So make full use of the chat down below over there. All right. So right now, currently, there's one watching. So if you have any questions at all right, just put it down in the chat below and I'll try my best to check both ways, all right? I'm operating on my laptop, I'm operating on my desktop right here. So, yeah, and then for Jiahong, Lishan, I know you have sent me your articles a long time ago. Okay, I'm sick, as you can see from this right here. I have shingles, or the Chinese will call it 生蛇, so I cannot actually be there at the moment, but I'll try my very best, all right, to approve your articles as soon as I can. So for those of you who have approved the article, especially Harshini, please don't jump the gun. You can try to do your introduction at the moment and you can do a little bit of a preliminary analysis of your article, but not make it a definitive one. All right, because you're going to change it. Once I teach you argumentation, and you're going to find out whether there are a lot of ICs, a lot of complex arguments, a lot of different intermediate conclusions that you can arrive at, the whole thing's going to change. I don't want to waste your time. All right, so for those of you who are already working on breaking down its premises, yes, you can use roughly around 70% of whatever that you have done, but you just have to refine it after I've taught argumentation at this point. All right, so for today, I'm going to finish off fallacies. I'm going to go into a little bit about argumentation. Okay, and then next week, and then by the way, next week Monday I will not have class because I'm taking my dad. I'm taking my dad to the clinic. So at the same, I'm going to be replacing the class, and not only that, next week is going to be your midterms test. But after I finish whatever it is that I'm going to do with you today, so you are able to do your midterms extremely fast. All right, I mean, you're able to do your midterms by then. So just so those of you who are not paying attention over the past few weeks, what is going to come out for the midterms? Number one, your design cycle, your inquiry cycle. Please do not forget these two. Right? And not only that, your basic argumentation, breaking it down into its premises and to look for main conclusions, all right, and a little bit about intermediate conclusion, but there are two there for you to find. So basically, I can break it down. There are two sections. Section A, 10 marks, design cycle, inquiry cycle. I'm going to give you a situation, solve it, identify the problem, solve the problem using design cycle, inquiry cycle. Section B, 10 marks, all right. You're going to have a short article. You're going to break down into its individual premises and look for the intermediate, look for the main conclusion, premises, and look for the fallacies. All right, so they are basically 10 marks right there. So they're 10, 10. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. So last week we talked about flaws and fallacies in its very general form. All right, we talked about how people can misuse arguments, how an argument can become bad, and how an poor argument and what a good argument assumptions are all based on. All right, so today we're going to dive deeper into fallacies. So if you have any questions at all, put it down in the chat. All Alright, so I hope you have your study guide with you, and if you have a reference book in front of you, that would be perfect. Alright, so I'm gonna switch it. Over to my desktop, and then we're gonna take a look at the slides. Alright, so things are gonna look a little bit weird at this point, but yeah. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. So this is why I left you last week. Okay, this is why I left you last week. So please, if let's say you cannot see things really well at this point, okay, just tell me at the comments down below. Okay, tell me in the comments down below. I should be able to rectify that. All right, so still checking the chat. Only one person is actually viewing it, but it's okay. All right, that's the beauty of a live stream. All right. So remember, if there are any points that you don't understand, just please type it comments down below, and I'll try my best to answer them. And if you somehow missed this live stream or came in a little bit late and or missed this live stream and you're watching on a delayed telecast, you can always message me on Facebook or WeChat just to ask me all these things. Alright? So this is where I left you guys last week. I asked you how come we cannot, how come this particular argumentation is wrong. Okay, we talked about it is valid, but it is unsound. We talked about why as well. So today we're gonna look at this tree. Okay, I think the last week I've stopped right here. I told you that some of the common fallacies are this tree. Okay, arguing from a particular case to a general conclusion. That means you generalize. And if some of you are watching and then you realize that I have already taught this before, okay, I already talked about this, please just tell me in the comments so I can just skip ahead. Alright, so I've been sick over the past one week and I've not fully recovered, and I may be a little bit blurred at this point. Alright, so I'm just gonna take it as I go along until I receive a comment in the chat saying that I taught this before. Alright, so now there are 3 common fallacies. Now there are a lot of fallacies out there for you to learn, like over 20 plus fallacies. You have it right here. All the ones that you need to know are right here, and the 8 that I'm going to be introducing to you later on. Some of them are not going to overlap. Some of them are basically the same but under a very different name. Alright, so you gotta be very alert as to these things. Alright, so I'm going to be introducing you to 3 common fallacies, the most common fallacies ever committed. Alright, if you read your articles, if you start to analyze them, you realize that these 3 fallacies actually come out a lot in your articles. So these 3. Number 1 would be arguing for a particular case to a general conclusion. This is what we call the generalization fallacy. Alright, it's in your book on page 34. Right here. Alright, this is generalization fallacy. I'm going to explain more about that. Second is anecdotal fallacy, or relying too heavily on anecdotal evidence or past experiences. Alright, I'm going to talk about it later on as well. And last is correlational fallacy, or mistaking correlation for a cause fallacy. Alright, you can refer to it right here. It's actually false cause. Behind here, it's actually known as false cause. So as you can see, these 3 fallacies comes in a variety of flavors. They are basically the same. Okay, not this 3 though. It is they go by a very different name, like correlational fallacy, mistaking correlation for a cause flaw, and false cause fallacy. All these 3 come in very different names, but they mean exactly the same thing. Alright, so you just need to be smart a little bit and read and see this is what I'm talking about. Alright, so these are the 3 most common fallacies that I'm going to be talking about. The first one is generalization fallacy. You take one example and then you sweep it all. You make a general sweeping statement. For example, if let's say, okay, Casey just asked me to slow down a little bit, so I will be slowing down, but I'm actually quite surprised because this is the speed that I'm going in class, but maybe because of the live stream, so I'll try my best. Okay, Casey? Now, so generalization fallacy works in a way that you assume, you make a general sweeping statement, you make one giant statement for one evidence, and then you sweep it across all the arguments. For example, let's say I have like 5 girlfriends before this, and then all my 5 girlfriends end up cheating on me, and then I make a conclusion: in this world there are no one single good girl out there. Alright, so it's not fair. It's not fair for someone to make a conclusion based on one particular instance, alright, or one general sweeping statement across all, unless you are very sure that the statement that you're making is extremely true to all. For example, all cats meow, okay, or all dogs bark, all fish swims in the sea. alright, or swims in water, or all fish live on water. Humans need oxygen. All humans need oxygen. These are generalized statements in which they are true. It's not a fallacy because it is true. Okay, it is only when the statement doesn't apply to everyone it becomes a fallacy. For example, all DBA students in Sunway doesn't know how to speak English. So yes, it might be true to a small majority of people, but it is not true for everyone. It is not fair for someone to generalize it in that way. Alright, so that is the first fallacy, which is the generalization fallacy. So far, so good. Alright, so there are 5 people who are watching right now. If let's say you understand, if let's say you understand, or if you need further clarification, you can put it down there. Alright, and I realized that Group E, you might be watching this. If you are Group E, if some of you are watching this, then I have already explained this, so don't bother. Alright, your live stream is going to come tomorrow and it's going to be another different topic. Alright, so for Group D, they're still here. Alright, so if Group E, you're watching this, just click away. Alright, so understand, huh? Everybody okay? Good. Remember, any questions, put it down in the chat. And there may be some delay going on, so put it down in the chat. I will periodically look over to the chat and I'll answer questions as I go along. Alright? So the second one is anecdotal fallacy. Anecdotal fallacy is using other people's examples. Okay, other people's examples or other people's instances or anecdotes or stories. Using other people's stories to prove your point. That means you did not experience it yourself. Alright? You use other people's stories. For example, argument A. Alright, that's why this thing is gonna be a bit weird because I do not have a whiteboard. But if I have a whiteboard, I will write this down. Okay, for example, argument A. Okay, argument A. From my own experience, during the month of August, there are a lot of rainfall in Johor Bahru. Okay, from my own experience, in the month of August, there are a lot of rainfall in Johor Bahru. Alright, so that is the first argument. First argument doesn't have much fallacies because why? Number one, it is your own personal assumption. Two, okay, it's relying on your own evidence. It's more believable. Alright, it might be semi-sound, not really that sound, but it is not a fallacy. Compared to argument 2, my friend's mother's cousin's friend said that in the month of August, okay, there will be a lot of rain. Now, the second argument is a little bit weaker because you're distancing yourself, right? There is a distance between the original argument, okay, your own argument and your instances or your examples. You are removing it very, very far. You're distancing yourself, or you rely too heavily on anecdotal evidence to support your point. All right, my friend's cousin's friend said that. Alright, so that is anecdotal fallacy. We're going to look at it in detail later on. And next is mistaking correlation for a cause. Mistaking correlation for a cause or false cause or correlational fallacy operates in such a way that you take a few elements that may be the cause of this thing, but it's not proven. It's only a correlation to make it a cause. That means there is a relationship between these two. Okay, element A, element B, and then you conclude that A causes B. And that cannot happen. For example, if a research says that people who get cancer, drink coffee, and people who die before the age of 80 all drank coffee. Does that mean that coffee causes cancer, or those people who drink coffee will die earlier than 80 years old? Does that mean that? No, it doesn't. Alright, it's only circumstantial evidence. There's only a little bit of correlation between these two elements, but people make it a conclusion. So if you make that kind of conclusion regarding coffee, yes, you are making the correlational fallacy or the false cause fallacy. At this point, understand? Okay, so far there are 4 people watching right now. So if you have any questions, remember, just put it down in the comments down below. Alright? So let's take a look at some examples. Now compare these two arguments. Those of you who are watching, you can see at your desktop right there. So compare these two arguments. I'm gonna give you like about 1 minute or so to compare these two. Now argument 3. 3 people fell through the ice last winter when they were walking across the lake. Seriously, you should think twice before you try to cross it. And argument 4, 3 people fell through the ice last winter when they were walking across the lake. You should never walk on frozen lakes. Now, which argument is flawed? Why? So, oh, you're watching in class. So, hi, but somebody has to type the answers for me. Yeah? Somebody has to type the answers for me. So, now, everyone, if you, let's see, which of this argument is flawed? Which of this argument is flawed? Argument 3 or argument 4? Okay, just take about 30 seconds to discuss. I cannot really monitor your discussion at the moment. Alright, so somebody just have to type the answer down. Alright, somebody just have to, just tell me. Argument 3 or argument 4? That's nice. Now, I see no answers coming from you guys, but I'm not sure how many of you are actually thinking about this at the moment. So, Harshini, I hope that you have your answer. So, if you take a look at argument 3, okay, if you take a look at argument 3 and compare it to argument 4, you will realize that argument 3, okay, is more sensible. Okay, it's not flawed, it's better than argument 4. Argument 4 is flawed, or there is a fallacy in argument 4. Just take a look. 3 people fell through the ice last winter when they were walking across the lake. You should never walk on frozen lakes. This argument 4 has committed the generalization fallacy. Harshini is on the way. Okay, alright, so right now I know that Harshini is late. This is a surprise, but it's okay. Okay, it's a live stream, so she can catch up. She can catch up later on. So now, argument 4, okay, is flawed because it has made an assumption. Just because 3 people fell through the ice last winter when they were walking across the lake, does that mean that we should not walk on all frozen lakes on Earth? No, it doesn't mean that. All right. So that is generalization fallacy. Just because of one thing, it's generalized. You generalize it to all instances. Alright, so this is called the generalization fallacy. This is one example. So if you break it down into its premise, you'll find that premise 1 is 3 people fell across the lake last winter. And then premise 2, they fell across the lake when they were walking across the lake. Okay, they fell through the ice when they were walking across the lake. Conclusion: you should never walk on frozen lakes. Which doesn't make sense, alright? Which doesn't make sense. It's a generalization fallacy right there. Whereas number 3, argument number 3, okay, okay, Casey just told me there is a lag. Alright, it's okay, maybe the internet connection over at Sunway isn't so good, alright, but it's okay if there's a lag, because if you did not manage to catch whatever I'm trying to say, it's okay. You can still catch up. You can still catch up later on when it is uploaded to YouTube or archived to YouTube, as long as you have the link you are able to see. Alright, so so Sun Yung said lag as well, but it's okay. Alright, as I said before, if it's lagging, it's okay. Alright, you can catch up later on in the archive. Alright, so that's why I say it will be, that's why I say in my Facebook post that it will be a little bit of a technical error, so you just have to bear with me for a while. Alright, so okay, now let's go back to argument 3. Now, argument 3 says the exact same premise, uses the exact same premise. You take a look, 3 people fell through the ice last winter when they were walking across the lake. It's exactly the same. The first sentence is exactly the same. However, the conclusion that was very different. The first argument 4 says you should never walk on frozen lakes. But argument 3 says that seriously, you should think twice before you cross it. Alright, so the first one is, yes, 3 people fell through the ice last winter when they were walking across the lake. Okay, but this time, our main conclusion is, next time you should be careful when you're walking across the lake. Does that mean that we shouldn't walk or all lakes are dangerous? No, it just says that you should be careful. Alright, and the main conclusion of you should be careful holds even without the original premise there. So argument 3 is valid and sound, but argument 4 is valid but unsound. Okay, due to a generalization fallacy over there. Okay, so far so good. Any questions so far? No. From the chat, I don't see any questions, so I will move on. Alright. Now, consider the below argument. Okay, this is a rehash. Okay, this is a rehash of the previous argument. Okay, argument 5. People cross this lake every year from November to March. The ice can be anything up to a meter thick. People drive cars across it. I've seen bonfires on the ice at New Year's and folk sitting around having a party. There is no risk of anyone falling through in the middle of February. Alright, so assuming that the premises are true or the reasons are true, okay, assuming that, is the argument sound or does it have a flaw? Alright, so take about 1 minute or two to think about this. Alright, so if in case some of you are still a bit blur as to the meaning of the words, bonfire, this particular word is a campfire. 他们起火在那个 ice 那边 alright? So basically, if I would translate this into Mandarin, okay, 在每一年的 November to March, okay, 很多人过那个 lake, okay, 那个很大的那个 lake, alright? So that ice can be anything up to a meter thick, 1 meter thick, okay? And people have drive cars across it, 人家可以驾车 across the ice, okay? And people can put fires that 可以做起火在那边烧肉来吃, okay? And folks sitting around having a party 可以在那边跳舞 can dance and sing around the fire, and nobody's ever fell through, 没有人家跌下去过, right? So, okay, so there is no risk of anyone ever falling through in the middle of February, right? So that means you can. During February, in the middle of February, you can just sing, dance there, and you won't fall through the ice. Assuming that the reasons are true, is the argument sound? Or does it have a flaw? Okay, take about 10 seconds to discuss this. Right? Okay, I see no response. I mean, there's a little bit of a lag right here. But if your answer, okay, if your answer is this argument is sound, why? Can anybody answer this argument is sound? Or is this argument is unsound? Why? Okay, why? I would love to hear generalization fallacy. Generalization fallacy, yes! Okay, Harshini, you're right. This argument is unsound because it has the generalization fallacy. Harshini, you're right. Alright, so if those of you who said it is sound, you're wrong. Okay, you're wrong because over here, okay, oh yes, I have compelling evidence. There is premises after premises after premises or reasons after reasons after reasons to support that, yes, the ice is relatively safe. Alright. But to make a conclusion, to make a general conclusion that says that there is absolutely no risk or there is no risk of anyone ever falling through in the middle of February is dangerous and is a generalization fallacy right there. Okay, and not only this, okay, and not only this, the first fallacy here is generalization fallacy. The second fallacy here, anyone can guess what is the second fallacy here that has been committed? Come on, use your brains to think about it a little bit. Clue here is people. People. Okay, that is your clue. And I have seen. That is your clue right there. So what is the second fallacy? The first fallacy, Harshini got it right, is generalization. Second fallacy? Anybody? Is there a response? Okay, I'm checking it live here, but of course there is a delay. Okay, of course there's a delay. The second fallacy, I mean, if you don't know about it, it's okay because technically speaking, I haven't touched it yet. It is called the anecdotal fallacy. Alright, anecdotal fallacy, or the second one, which is this one, relying too heavily on anecdotal evidence or past experience. This one. Alright, so anecdotal is what? Anecdotal is other people's stories or other people's examples or other people's statements. So if you think about this way, first premise, people cross this lake every year. People, not me, people. The ice can be anything up to a meter thick. Okay? Good premise. Second premise, people drive cars across it. Third premise is people drive cars across it. People, not this person who is actually doing the making this argument. Alright, and I have seen bonfires at New Year and folks sitting around having a party. Now this is past experience. You use one past experience, only one, to make this statement, to make this conclusion. Therefore, this argument cannot stand. Okay, this argument is flawed because it has not only it has committed generalization fallacy, but it has also committed the anecdotal fallacy. Alright? Clear so far? Clear? Any questions so far? Cheers. Okay, no questions, let us proceed. Alright, now read this article from a newspaper. Now this is a real newspaper article, okay, that I have searched on the internet, and then I took it and I put this here. So those of you who have your phones with you, I'm very sure all of you do, you can capture a picture of this. Okay, you can just take a picture of this particular slide and for your own reference, alright? But I'm going to just read it for you anyway. 6 arguments say that doctors investigating an outbreak of suspected food poisoning discovered that 4 of the people who had reported sick had eaten at Bayside Fish Restaurant the day before, and all had eaten fish. Okay, any establishment that is found to be responsible for food-related sickness will be closed by the authorities until it has been given a certificate of fitness from hygiene inspectors. Today, the Bayside is closed. Now, remember this argument, huh? Remember this, huh? Okay. Now, tell me. Okay. Now tell me. Ignore this thing right here. Don't cheat, huh? Ignore this thing right here. Now, which of the below claims can be safely inferred from the report? Claim 1, claim 2, or claim 3. Alright. Discuss with your teammates. Alright. You can take a picture of this slide if you want to. Okay. So just take a look. Which one of this claim is more suitable, or which one of this conclusion is more suitable to this argument right here? Okay, which one? So you can discuss with your friend and just put it at the chat down below. What is your guess? Okay, what is the answer for this particular one? Alright, just take about 1 minute to... Just take about 1 minute. Which one? Claim 1, claim 2, or claim 3? Or conclusion 1, conclusion 2, conclusion 3? What is your answer? C3. Casey said C3. Anybody else? Homie says C3 as well. Anybody else? Anybody with C1? Anybody say C1? Anybody with C2? Ashini, what's your answer? Apple says C1. Good. Or Jessica says C1. Lishan said C1. Anybody else? Actually not sure. Okay, how about the guys? Junian, are you there? What's your answer? C2? Where's Junian? Where are you? What's your answer? Or are you in class? Or you're not in class? Junior said don't know. Okay, now we have all the different answers up there, C1, C2, C3. And now, for those who said C1, Jessica, okay, Lishan, all said C1. Now, why do you say C1? Can you prove to me that the source of the outbreak of food poisoning was the Bayside Fish Restaurant? Show me anywhere in argument 6 proves C1, proves your claim, proves that the source of the outbreak is Bayside Fish Restaurant. Just show me. Just show me anything from the argument here that says that the source of the outbreak is the Bayside Fish Restaurant. Any? Those who said C1. Just show me the proof. Just tell me where is the proof. Okay, Harshini said C2. I'll get back to you. Okay, I'll get back to you, Harshini. So C1. if you take a look, C1 says the source of the outbreak of food poisoning was the Bayside Fish Restaurant. But if you take a look at this, where on earth did it say the source of the outbreak is from the Bayside Fish Restaurant? Where? It just says that doctors are investigating an outbreak of suspected food poisoning discovered that 4 of the people who were reported sick had eaten at Bayside Fish Restaurant. That means out of every one outbreak, the word outbreak right here says that there are more than 100 people. Okay, more than 100 people have suspected food poisoning, and only 4 of them had eaten at the Bayside Fish Restaurant. Does it mean that the source of the outbreak is the Bayside Fish Restaurant? No. This is generalization. Okay, this is jumping the gun. Okay, there is no point over there. There is no way inside here, nowhere inside this article that says that the Bayside Fish Restaurant is the cause of this particular outbreak. Alright, nowhere. So first claim or first conclusion is false. Alright, it has a fallacy. Take a look at C2. Okay, Jessica says the first sentence mentioned that. Alright, doctors investigating an outbreak of suspected food poisoning discovered that 4 people who reported sick had eaten at Bayside Fish Restaurant the day before, and all had eaten fish. Now, Jessica, you have to understand that doctors investigating an outbreak of suspected food poisoning, and the word outbreak right here, okay, says that there are more than 4 people who had food poisoning. More than 4. Okay, but only 4 had eaten at the restaurant. Does that mean that the restaurant is the source of this outbreak? The answer is no. Maybe these 4 had eaten somewhere else. Maybe these 4 had eaten sandwiches purchased by more people up there, but this newspaper did not report. This newspaper only reported that these 4 people all had been to the Bayside Fish Restaurant and all had eaten fish. Okay, so how about the rest of them? How about the rest of them who had eaten at that restaurant but didn't eat fish? Okay, the first one says that the restaurant is the source of the food poisoning. If I go to that restaurant, but I ordered the sashimi, I ordered shrimp, or I ordered, let's say, octopus, or I ordered, let's say, fish balls. Okay, does that mean that I will have food poisoning? No. Alright, so if you say the first conclusion is true, you are saying that no matter what I eat at the restaurant, I will get food poisoning. Okay? So the first conclusion is false. Right? Get it? So far? Good. Let's take a look at the second one. Second one, C2. I have Harshini saying C2. I have Jating says C2. Okay. Now, why C2? Show me where on earth they say fish is the cause of the outbreak. No. Okay, you cannot find any evidence, okay, of this article writing that fish is the cause of the food poisoning. All it says right here is all had eaten fish. Does that mean that fish is the one who causes? Remember, there are hundreds of people out there who has food poisoning. Only 4 eaten at that restaurant, and these 4 eaten fish. Does that mean that fish is the cause of the outbreak? Any other evidence that you can use to support that? Answer is no. Therefore, the second one isn't. Okay, the second one isn't the. The second conclusion isn't true. Okay, the second conclusion has a fallacy. All right. So the third conclusion. Okay, third conclusion. Bayside has been closed down by the inspectors. I have a few people who say C3. Hong Yi says C3. Casey says C3. Okay, 2 say C3. So now, if C1, C2 is false, does that mean that C3 is correct? Let's take a look. The Bayside restaurant, the Bayside has been closed down by inspectors. Tell me, does that say any indication right here in argument 6 that tells you that the inspectors closed down the restaurant? Take about 5 seconds to think about this thing. The clear answer is no, alright? So there is nowhere or no indication in this particular argument says that the health inspectors closed down the Bayside restaurant. over here, alright, any establishments that is found to be responsible for food-related sickness will be closed by the authorities and not permitted to reopen until it has been given a certificate of fitness from hygiene inspectors. First of all, any establishments found to be responsible, then which once they check and they found out that yes, this restaurant is responsible for the food poisoning, they will close it down and it will only be allowed to reopen until it has a certificate of fitness. Okay, that's true. Second one, today the Bayside is closed. Does that mean that the health inspectors are the one who close it? No, it could mean that that day, yes, okay, Casey, but it is closed. It could mean that that day is the resting day. It could mean that they're on leave. Okay, it could mean everything else. Okay, every single restaurant has a closing day. Alright, so they just so happens to be closed. Does that mean that they have been closed down by the health inspectors? Yes, it is closed, but does it say anywhere that the health inspectors are the one who close it? Anywhere in this argument at all? Answer is no. Alright, so all three claims cannot stand. All these three claims all these three conclusions are made up as a fallacy and all committed one by one. The first one committed the generalization fallacy. Second, anecdotal fallacy. Third, mistaking correlation for a cause or false cause fallacy. 1, 2, 3, all fallacies. Alright, so you can see this article is actually a very well written article. Okay, it presented facts as it is. It's people's interpretation of the article. When people read, people make their own conclusions, and this is why you have all these fallacious conclusions come out. Right? There's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with the premise right here. Nothing wrong. All the premises are true. All the premises are accurately reported. It's how people make sense of these premises that makes it a fallacy. Clear? Clear so far? Any questions? Okay, from the chat, no. Alright, so let's take a look at argument 7. Now, argument 7 is a real restaurant review of Bayside Restaurant. Alright, as I said before, I took this review from a real restaurant, from a real newspaper. Okay, I looked at it online and I found it. And this review is real as well. It's on Yelp, Y-E-L-P. If you go to Google Play Store, or if you go to your Apple App Store, you Google for, and then you search for Yelp, Y-E-L-P. It's this app that people use to rate, give reviews to restaurants. So let's say if you go to Bao Wang Fan and then you eat over there, you just check in Yelp and then you give a review like 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, and whatnot. Okay, and a review posted on Yelp on this restaurant sounds like this. Okay, I'm gonna make it argument 7. Conrad, I know, okay, so it's lagged again, but it's okay. Okay, if it's lagged, you can still find the archived version on YouTube later on after this live stream. Alright, so don't worry about that. Now, take a look at argument 7. I knew that Bayside was bad news. I have never liked the food there, and I certainly never eaten the fish. Now we hear that 4 people who went there all reported sick, and the next day the restaurant is closed. So it is pretty clear that the food is to blame. My suspicions were correct all along. Now, discuss with your partner or whoever is beside you, is there a flaw in the above argument? If there's a flaw, out. Okay, argument 7. Remember, this is a real review. Okay, this is a real review written by somebody who has read the article. And this person has never eaten at that restaurant before. Can this person make this claim? Okay, can this person make this argument? Just take about 10 seconds to discuss with your partner about this. Alright, while I drink some water right here. Now, what is your answer? Is there a flaw? And if there's a flaw, what flaw? Checking the stream. Discussing. Okay, if I'm there, I'm not sure whether you're discussing this or that. I'm gonna give you guys one more minute. Okay, I have the timer right there as for my live stream timer. So I'm gonna give you guys 10 more seconds. Ashini says there is a flaw. What flaw? Ashini, you cannot just say there is a flaw and don't tell me what's the flaw. Right? In your assignment, you cannot just say there is a flaw and run away. You need to tell me what's the flaw. So far, we've talked about 3 fallacies already, isn't it? So we talked about generalization fallacy, we talked about anecdotal fallacy, we talked about mistaking correlation for a cause. So which flaw is this? Okay, the answer is all 3 flaws. Now, this particular review or this particular argument 7, is essentially biased because we can see, I knew Bayside was bad news. I've never liked the food there and I've certainly never eaten the fish. This person clearly hates the restaurant. You can tell from the tone of this particular argument. This person is biased, right? So this person doesn't like the restaurant, okay, doesn't like the restaurant, hates the fish, hates the restaurant, don't really like it, and read this particular article. Therefore, this person, okay, who has hated the restaurant already to begin with, saw this opportunity to attack. The restaurant. Use this article as a basis to make this type of conclusion, to make this type of argument or review on Yelp. This is actually a real one. Okay, this is actually a real review poster on Yelp, and if I'm not mistaken, the owners of Bayside actually sued the person who wrote this review, and she won. Okay, and the restaurant won. Alright, so instead of asking Yelp to delete this review, the person put it up there. Okay, the person still put the review up there. Don't want to delete it because they want to show people how fallacious this argument can be. That's how I found it in the first place. Right? So you can see in real world, an article can be unbiased. It's how you interpret that particular article. Therefore, when you analyze your articles later on, okay, there is a main topic. Let's say abortion should not be legalized, or abortion are good for teenagers or something like that. There are certain instances where this particular fallacy or these fallacies, this 3 generalization, correlation fallacy, or false cause fallacy, or mistaken correlation for a cause, all these 3 fallacies would have been committed. These are the 3 most common ones out there. Alright, so you have to be very, very careful as to how you construct your arguments later on, not to make this type of fallacies. Clear? So far clear? Good. We are 43 minutes into our live stream already, so let's move on. Alright, remember, if you have any questions or you need any clarification, just put it down at the chat. Okay, I will try my best to answer. Okay, if you're watching this as a class, alright, you've been projecting it in front, don't worry, just go to the front and type in your questions, or you can just view it in your phone. Okay, view it in your phone and type in the questions as you see. Okay, so let's move on. Now, of course, I cannot do this activity with you guys, but I'm gonna give it as homework for the rest of you. Okay, I'm gonna be doing this as homework for the rest of you, but please do it. Okay, please do it. So I want you to split into your groups. Okay, and I want you each group to take 1 or 2 of this particular fallacy and do a mind map. Look for its definition, usage, examples, and how it can be prevented. A tip for your final exam. This we have 2, 4, 6, 8, right? And just now we have learned 3, isn't it? Total, we learned 13 fallacies, isn't it? Okay, in your final exams, there are a total of 16 fallacies in your article that I have written in your final, that I have put in your final exam. But I only need 10. Okay, I only need 10. Therefore, this 13 confirm will come out. Some of them are already right here. So you can be assured that all these 8 plus the 3 that I mentioned just now, all will be coming up for your final exam, and a few strange ones behind here. There are a total of 16 fallacies to be found in your final exam. I only need 10. So each one of these you need to know. Okay, each one of these fallacies you need to know. So I'm going to be dividing the topics according to your group. Okay, so please do it. Please, after this, just discuss. Okay, do a little mind map. All right, do a little mini PowerPoint presentation. So next class, when I do replacement for you guys, I'm able to just jump around a little bit and then let you guys explain to each other. And you will definitely use a few of these fallacies in next week's midterms. All right, so even if your group is not assigned to do this, you just read about it anyway. All right. So for Jeff's group or Hongyi's group, okay, you guys will do straw man and ad hominem. Okay, straw man is very common. Okay, it's very common. Once you have straw man, you will have a lot of different. Some of these fallacies are interconnected. So if let's say you have straw man, you definitely have Texas sharpshooter. Okay, you have straw man, you definitely have Texas sharpshooter, and then if you have black and white, you have this fallacy. So later on, when you do your research or you present out, you will know that some of these fallacies, they are together. They are like couples, you know. So like straw man and Texas sharpshooter are always a couple. Okay, they will always be together. That means there is straw man, they will sure be Texas sharpshooter. Okay, so it will be together. Alright, so it's very, very common. Okay, so for Jeff's group or Hongyi's group, you will do straw man fallacy and ad hominem fallacy. Ad hominem fallacy is personal attack, very easy. Alright, so Jeff's group, you will do straw man and ad hominem. Clear? Good. For Ivy's group, you will do black and white fallacy and authority fallacy. Alright, black and white fallacy is they give you no choice, it's either this or that. Let's say if I ask, let's say Shisi, I ask Shisi, do you have a girlfriend? And Shisi says no. And then I say, oh, that means you must be gay. Alright, there is no in-between answers. Okay, there is no in-between answers like that. Right, so that is black and white fallacy. Authority fallacy is using somebody who doesn't have power. Okay, who doesn't have power to prove a point. Okay, later on when you do your research, there are YouTube videos on this, so maybe after this live stream, you can just type all these fallacies in and you can view the videos one by one. It's on PBS Ideas channel. That particular guy has a lot of good videos on these fallacies, alright? So you can go and view on that. Right, so Ivy's group, you will do black and white fallacy and authority fallacy. Okay? And Ho Jin's group, you will do no true Scotsman fallacy. Okay, no true Scotsman fallacy is a deliberate exclusion of a premise just because it doesn't fit your conclusion. Clear? Deliberate exclusion of a premise just because it doesn't fit your original argument. Alright, so later on, find the definition, find the usage, find the example, how it can be prevented. Alright, and present it later on in our next class. Alright, so Ho Jin's group will take that. Suhei's group, you will do moving the goalpost fallacy and Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Alright, moving the goalpost fallacy and Texas sharpshooter. Moving the goalpost is changing the goals of the argument or changing the objectives of the argument just because you are going to lose that argument. There are more detailed explanation, okay, on the interwebs, so you can research on that. And Texas sharpshooter is deliberate selection of the premise which supports your main conclusion. There are a lot of different evidence, there are a lot of different premises that will prove your main conclusion to be false, but you deliberately choose the ones nitpicking, okay, cherry pick the ones that you think will fit your MC the most. Alright, so Suhei's group, you will do moving the goalpost fallacy and Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Alright, Hashini, I did not forget you. Okay, Hashini's group, you guys will do one of the most difficult ones to do, which is fallacy. I know your face will have changed by now. Alright, but trust me, you're the only person that I trust for this fallacy. Now, fallacy. Before everyone gets out of control in the class, okay? Fallacy is the hardest, okay? It's the hardest, but it's the most valuable fallacy that you can find. Okay, if you're able to find fallacy in your final exam, straight away I will give you full marks for that section, even though you just found 2 fallacies. Let's say in your final exam you found strawman fallacy and you found fallacy. straight away I'll give you 50 over 50 for that particular section, because fallacy is very, very difficult to detect and very, very difficult to explain. It's a gold mine, right? So far I've taught from April 14 all the way until August 15. Only one student managed to get fallacy in the final exam. Only one. Same goes to your assignment as well. If you are able to prove, okay, that fallacy exists in your assignment, exists in the article, you better make sure that it is fallacy, because if you say it's fallacy, but it is not fallacy, I will fail you on the spot. That is for your assignment. And if, let's say, in your final exam, you say it's fallacy, but it is not fallacy, I'll give you 0 for that part. Yeah. Yes, I know everyone will be like very chaotic right now in class, but that's why I only trust Harshini to do this. Okay, Harshini's group, you will do fallacy. Look for its definition, look for its usage, look for its example, and look how it can be prevented. Now, just to make your life a little bit easier, it is a automatic dismissal of an argument just because the original argument has a fallacy in it, regardless of the soundness of the original argument. For example, if let's say I'm arguing with Harshini, Harshini says the earth is round. I say, no Harshini, the earth is flat. Then Harshini gives me a lot of different premises or different reasons to say why the earth is round. Harshini says, oh, you can go up to space, you can take the picture, you can clearly see Earth's curvature, the Earth is round, and then I still do not accept it. Okay, I still do not accept it. I say that, hey, people sail across the ocean and never come back. Therefore, the Earth must be flat. And that triggered Harshini. Harshini got so angry and Harshini said, shut up, you stupid fool. Okay, shut up, you stupid fool. The Earth is round. Why can't you see that? Alright, so and then I said, oh, Harshini, did you just call me a stupid fool? Therefore, you just use an ad hominem fallacy on me. Therefore, your argument is unsound. Your argument is fallacious. I won't accept the argument. My argument is correct. Okay, if that happens, I have committed fallacy. Just because Harshini committed a fallacy, an ad hominem fallacy in front, that doesn't mean that her conclusion is false. Okay, if we assume that the conclusion is false just because of the fallacy that was made, alright, that whole thing will become fallacy. Okay, Harshini, if you're still confused, or people in your team, they are still confused, you can do research on this. Okay, this is the purpose of me telling you guys to go and do this research. Alright, if I'm there, I would have split you guys up into groups and given you a A3 paper and asked you guys to research on the spot. But don't worry, there are a lot of YouTube videos out there for you to see and for you to guide you on this. Clear? Everyone clear? Everyone clear what you need to do? Next class, you guys will present this. If you've completed it, you can send it in your WeChat group. Alright? So if everybody is clear, then just put it in the chat, says that everybody is okay with this. Okay? I'm going to give you guys about a few minutes or a few seconds while I drink some water. Sorry with the squeaky chair, my chair is a little bit old. Alright, so let's move on. Okay, I will complete about 2 slides, then I will end today's live stream. So, yes, another reflection journal. Okay, so take a few moments to take a picture of this thing. Okay. Alright, so this is your 4th reflection journal. For those of you who have not completed your reflection journals at this point, you're in trouble, okay, but there's still time to catch up, so just take a picture. Casey, is up to you, okay, up to you. If you want to do, you do it, but don't to do is up to you, alright? You know from ARS, so I'm just gonna leave it to you, okay? So yeah, the first 3 questions will be the same. Okay, the first 3 questions will be the same. But the next 3 questions, when I argue with other people, are my arguments valid and sound? Well, I want you to think back on your arguments with other people. Think about arguments about other people. Okay, the arguments that you make with these people, are they valid and sound, all right? And have I used any argument fallacies in my arguments or in my daily life, and how did you commit any fallacies before this? And has anyone used any fallacies on you, all right? When and how, all right? So just reflect those a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to complete 2 more slides before I let you guys off. Okay, I know some of you have gone to the toilet by now and never come back, but it's okay. And just to show you guys that I have a lot of different fallacies out here, and I have cute little illustrations, okay, cute little comic illustrations as to what the fallacies are, so you can just refer to it, alright? So let's go on. Okay, I'll finish 2 more slides, then I'll let you guys off, alright? So let's go to argumentation. Now, argumentation is the complex argument. Alright, now you know simple arguments. You know premise 1 relates to premise 2, relates to your meaning conclusion. And you know what are the flaws that can happen inside an argument. So let's take a look deep into an argument to take a look at more complex, okay, to take a look at the more complex version of this argument. Okay, I just received the a particular question from Hashini. For the assignment, do we need to have 10 ICs for each article? Yes, preferably yes. Alright. If you have less than that, okay, if you have less than that, then I have to double check your analysis again. Okay, I have to double check what you have done and what it is that is inside your article, because you may have missed a few. And if even after I read it and then I said that no, it is still not enough, you either have to go and find another article, okay, to supplement it, to add on, or to change article. Alright, it depends. Alright, Lishan, Junior's group, don't worry, by the end of today I will approve or disapprove your articles. Alright, so does that answer your question, Hashini? Okay, so let's move on. Now, first of all, what are arguments? Now, arguments is not the fight, the verbal argument fight that we are talking about right here. It's not that I fight with you, you fight with me, those types of arguments. No. Okay, these type of arguments are not to say fallacious arguments. Those type of arguments are senseless arguments, the ones with no points. Okay, I just argue with you, I quarrel with you, okay, I quarrel with you, but I make no compelling argument. Right? So that's the difference between a quarrel and a argument. Now, this is the thing. What is the difference between an argument and a quarrel? Arguments has points. Okay, arguments have premises, arguments have reasons, arguments have premises, clear premise and clear conclusions, whereas a quarrel doesn't have. So if let's say I fight with my friend, I fight verbally, oh you're stupid, no I'm stupid, all these things, alright? These are just a quarrel, it's not an argument. Okay, Hashini, so 5 ICs for each article is not enough. No, sadly no. Okay, it is not. Okay, you will find that later on, if you have only 5 ICs, you will have a very, very difficult time in analyzing fallacies. So find at least 10. Okay, if you cannot find at least 10, supplement it. Okay, look for another short article that you can find a few intermediate conclusions in and put it in. Now, don't worry, Hashini, you have not actually learned what is IC yet. Alright, what is IC yet? So this chapter, this topic is going to talk about ICs. Alright, so don't worry about that. Okay. Now, an argument is a complex claim that is used to organize and express certain types of reasoning. It's a complex claim, okay, and then it is composed of 2 or more claims or 2 or more premises. It contains one conclusion and others reasons for the conclusion. So therefore, minimum, it must have at least 2 premises and 1 conclusion in order for it to be an argument. Minimum 2 premises and 1 conclusion to be qualified as an argument. Clear? Now, how do you evaluate an argument? This is the question that we are going to answer in our next class. Alright? If you take a look at an argument, let's say if you take a look at this argument, how are you supposed to evaluate it? Okay, which one of this is a good argument and why? But I'm going to talk about this next week, in the next class. Alright? So, but don't worry about intermediate conclusions. So for now, okay, for now, for the purpose of your midterms and for the purpose of your summary so far, okay, you just focus on premise. Okay, if you are able to detect intermediate conclusions, then good. Alright, then all the better. But I'm afraid that if you go into ICs and later on you learn ICs and it's a completely different thing, you're gonna waste your time analyzing. So don't jump the gun. Take it slow, Ashini. Alright, take it slow for now. We still have a little bit more time. Alright. So we are nearly 1 hour into our live stream. So I'm gonna end it right here for now. Okay, next class. Okay, next class on Thursday, because of the rat race, I won't have a class, but I will try my best to replace. Alright. I know most of you all of you are free on Wednesday morning. Okay, so maybe next week Wednesday morning I will replace this week's Thursday class. Alright, so if those of you who have community service, alright, just tell me about it. Most likely it will be from 9:30 to 11:30 because Wednesday morning I'm free. Alright, and after that the upcoming week, which is this next Monday. Okay, next Monday I won't be around. Okay, I won't be around as well, and I will be replacing that class as well. Don't worry. Okay, I'll be doing quite a lot of replacement for your class. Alright, I'm really sorry about that, but definitely I can finish. Don't worry about that. Okay, okay, Casey just told me that community service, okay, it's okay, we will arrange some other time. Okay, you just have to tell me when is your free time, and we will try, I will try my best to match your time, okay, with that. So, any questions regarding your assignment so far? Any questions? Any questions? No? No? Okay, if there are no questions, so this is where I will leave it. Okay, if you have any questions regarding your assignment, do feel free to message me. Okay, do feel free to message me either on Facebook or on WeChat or anywhere else. Alright, I am so sorry that I'm missing so many classes for you guys. I just hope that you guys can forgive me, and definitely I will replace the classes as I go along. Okay, so thank you so much for attending this live stream. I hope that things are not too messy or too chaotic for you. I really have no choice but to do this. I would really love to be there with you guys, but unfortunately I can't. So, but thank you so much. If you have any questions, just send me a message or make an appointment with me. All right, Junyan and Jiahong and Lishan, I will be approving your articles really soon. Okay, so thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Okay, good day.